Bob
Mhm. Yeah,
Cousy's
it's impressive for
Bob
sure.
Cousy's here. People don't even forget. People almost never mention Bob Cousy. Led the league in assists 8 times, 6 rings. Pretty crazy.
Yeah, but like I said, these like with the rings, it's all the Russell
Yeah,
teams. So I think yeah, it's a little bit unfair
but he also
to
had an
give
MVP
them
too.
that
So
because of the ring. But Kuzi's a great player. But the only thing about Kuzi is if you watch his games, I think he would have some problems in the modern NBA because the problem with him is
yeah.
he only had one strong hand. He had only one strong hand. He always dribbled with one side
So
only.
this is like
And,
he's like
yeah.
one of the players that I judge players based on their era. I don't compare it to the modern era. It's just Cousy in his era
Mhm.
was probably one of the top 2 best players of his era,
In his era,
right?
yes. Yep.
Along with Bob Pettit, which actually I'll get to next. So
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, like it's really hard to rank players like that. George Mikan, obviously incredibly dominant in his era, but wouldn't be able to do anything today, But he's if without him, you wouldn't have like a lot of the modern rules, right? So it's like that's why
Yeah.
he's ranked here. Obviously, I don't consider George Mikan 22nd best player ever, but he's here because of his influence in his era, I guess.
Okay, yeah, exactly. So that's why when we actually talk about this list, the important thing is we got to talk about are they greatest in terms of just what they've accomplished in terms of what they contribute to the game, and then for their particular era, or we just talk about these guys, you can put them in the gym right now and who's gonna win. So we gotta make sure
Yeah, yeah,
we're
and
talking about the same thing. Yeah,
I rank them based on their era because otherwise it's really hard to,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And that's how
yeah,
we rank players in other sports too, right?
yeah,
Bob Pettit,
yeah. Because in my opinion, yeah,
I
yeah, in my opinion, I think Bill Russell would actually have a better shot of being really great in the modern NBA as opposed to Bob
for
Cousy
sure.
by a little bit. Like Cousy was a great player, but at the same time, for his generation, I mean, he only dribbled well with one hand, and that would be a massive liability in the NBA right now if you did that. So yeah,
I'll
but
ask
of
you your
course, hey, if
opinion
he played in the
on
modern,
whether this guy can play in the modern NBA. Bob Pettit. I don't know how much you know about him, but dude, people don't. Most people don't know him actually, and it's kind of a shame
Mhm,
because this guy, he's in my opinion, he's one of the most underrated players ever. 2 MVPs, and he won this during a time when Cousy was there, Russell was there, Elgin Baylor was there. He beat him. He beat them out
mhm,
for 2 MVPs. 26 and
mhm, mhm,
16. That's ridiculous, right? Stats. And
mhm,
he
mhm,
wasn't even black.
mhm,
Like this guy was a 6'9" white dude, and he's 26 and 16,
mhm,
right?
mhm,
So it's like you can't even knock him
mhm,
for like people knock Wilt or the Baylor because like, oh, you're playing against short white guys. This guy was a white guy. Come on, and he put up these stats,
mhm.
right? So I
Right,
feel
right.
like people who might be underrating him. They're not even like they don't even know who he is. But he's like
I think.
IMO. He's one of the
Mhm,
most more underrated players.
mhm, mhm, mhm. I think he is.
Yeah.
I think he definitely is. I think for a big man too, I like his skill set.
Hmm.
I think the thing about a lot of the big men back then is they all had a pretty good skill set,
Hmm.
most of them, and even more so than a lot of the modern big men, which actually makes them all viable in the modern NBA. I actually think in general, a lot of great big men would actually age a lot better if they actually played in the modern NBA compared to a lot of the perimeter players from say, 40, 50, 60 years ago,
Oh
in
yeah,
my
Bob
opinion.
Cousy
So
probably wouldn't play
yeah.
today. Sam Jones, Bill Sharman probably wouldn't make it.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, because if anything, the modern NBA, you would actually see there's probably a drop in how good the big men are in terms of fundamentals, as opposed to the big men from back then.
Yeah, Pettit had great fundamentals.
Yep.
He was
Yep.
also the only one to beat Russell Celtics in the
Hmm.
finals. So
Hmm.
gotta put that
Yeah.
out.